What's going on? Just before 3 o'clock. Local time. That's local time. I'm on Central Time for the next 24 hours before I head back to the States after a fantastic weekend here in Placencia, Belize, celebrating my mother's 60th. And that is what this episode is brought to you by. Who this episode is brought to you by. The folks at Chabal Mar here in Placencia. Man, it's been a friggin' blast over the last few days. And we've got a lot to discuss as it relates to the Ravens' latest injury news that John Harbaugh discussed and addressed at his press conference a short while ago. Baltimore improves to 4-5, can get back to 500 football for the first time this season. Of course, they've stared 1-5 in the face and now stare 4-5 in the eye as they get ready for the Cleveland Browns in a Week 11 matchup on the road coming up this Sunday. So if you could on the way in, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership today. Appreciate you guys for being here. You can click on the link that I have included as a pinned comment in the live chat if you'd like to share a thought through the guest lines. Also, Chabal Mar, all the Instagram links, website links, everything else that you could possibly want to learn more about potentially booking a visit or a stay or a vacation here in Belize is all in the show notes. Here's what I have for you in terms of the rundown. Marlon Humphrey's latest. Rashad Bateman, will he miss time? We don't know, but John Harbaugh addressed it and was very vague. He also talked about the past and present usage thus far in 2025 for Keaton Mitchell, and a whole lot more is what I have coming up. We'll begin with Marlon Humphrey, John Harbaugh, a short while ago at one winning drive.
He might need to get something done to tighten it up, which would be he could play right away, maybe the week, or it may take a week to get him back from that if he does decide to do a surgery. But it would be only a week at the most, what I was told. I don't know. I guess you could. When you say a week, then I'm thinking maybe 2, but maybe none. So if he decides to play with it and keep it wrapped up, then he could play in this game. So that's where he's at right now.
Okay, so Marlon Humphrey, while there hasn't been a decision made yet, it looks like there's going to have to be one at some point here, and that's whether or not to undergo surgery. And as you heard there from Harbaugh, if he does get the surgery, as Jeff transcribed here on X, he'll likely miss a week or two. It'll be next man up. When he left late in the fourth quarter yesterday in Minnesota, it was Keon Martin, next man up. We know that Nate Wiggins and Chido Awuzie are CB1 and 2, respectively. There would be a drop-off if 44 can't go for the foreseeable future, or at least on a small week-to-week basis, whatever that might be. And that is if, again, it's if he opts for surgery. Now, one of the reasons why I would think he's probably feeling like that's his only option is because of what he had to say during his media scrum post-game last night. Listen to this.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I had a deal happen Friday, so it's kind of – I honestly have never really dealt with something kind of like this. So it's a little bit experimental for me, so I'm kind of unaware of what exactly going forward. It was not the most comfortable, that was for sure, but we'll see going forward.
But you still made the interception.
I did still make the interception. I think if I had 2 hands, I probably would have dropped it, honestly. So the cast might be good luck. So we'll see if I'm still wearing the cast in the playoffs or something. That would be wild.
Run that back once more.
Honestly, I'm really not sure. I had a deal happen Friday, so it's kind of – I honestly have never really dealt with something kind of like this. So it's a little bit experimental for me, so I'm kind of unaware of what exactly going forward. It was not the most comfortable, that was for sure, but we'll see going forward.
But you still made the interception.
I did still make the interception. I think if I had 2 hands, I probably would have dropped it, honestly. So the cast might be good luck. So we'll see if I'm still wearing the cast in the playoffs or something. That would be wild.
Okay, so clearly this is something that he refers to as experimental. He has not been down this road throughout his career so far. He's the longest tenured Raven, longest tenured defensive Raven, and somebody that now has a decision to make. Look, if I'm Marlon and I feel like this surgery would help me down, and obviously it'll probably have to get fixed on more of a permanent basis in the offseason, I would think. The way that John Harbaugh referred to it as getting tightened up, allowing him to keep 2025 intact, knowing that, well, listen to Harbaugh once more, and I'll formulate my thought here. That's not what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for right here.
He might need to get something done to tighten it up, which would be he could play right away, maybe the week, or it may take a week to get him back from that if he does decide to do a surgery. But it would be only a week at the most, what I was told. I don't know. I guess you could, when you say a week, then I'm thinking maybe 2, but maybe none. So if he decides to play with it and keep it wrapped up, then he could play in this game. So that's where he's at right now.
Tell you what, if I'm Marlon and I feel like this temporary fix could be something that's sustainable to keep my playing time and my 2025 season afloat and intact, I'm getting that surgery done, potentially missing week 11 against Cleveland, week 12 against the Jets, and giving myself a fighting chance to return Thanksgiving night under the primetime lights against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and whoever will be throwing the football to them. Either Joe Flacco or Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, as we learned earlier today, has a chance to be back for one, if not both, of the Ravens-Bengals games. And those games will be played twice within a 3-week span, beginning Thanksgiving night, week 13, November 27th, and then week 15, December 14th, and that's at Cincinnati. Clearly they need, and look, I'm not saying that Marlon and his resume and his career tape looks great against the Bengals trio and now duo of talented stud wide receivers, but you're sure as hell going to want him out there, and this is all due respect to Keon Martin, an undrafted rookie. You're going to want 44 out there more so than you'd want to throw out an undrafted rookie against an all-pro and just Pro Bowlers littered all throughout that offense. So we'll have to learn more about where Marlon's at, but that's the latest there. As for Rashad Bateman, he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. He left Minnesota last night in a boot. That was courtesy of Kimberly Martin, who had a conversation with him, and John Harbaugh was very vague on where he was at. All he would say is essentially he's fine. He did pretty much. He came out and said, he's like, look, that was a hip drop tackle. I don't know if this whole hip drop tackle, when it comes to enforcement by NFL officiating, is consistent enough for any of our likings. But clearly, Bateman, I would think, is going to miss some time with what he referred to as a high ankle sprain. That typically comes with more than a week-to-week recovery timetable. Harbaugh said, quote, I think he's going to be okay. We'll see how serious it is going forward. I would not be expecting to see him available for practice on Wednesday. Maybe I'll be wrong. I'll have to see. And in terms of Jay Higgins is going to miss some times as well. Jeff Zrebeck asked specifically about Jay. He did sustain what was referred to as a serious knee injury. It's not a season-ending knee injury, but it's going to be a few weeks. He's not out for the season, again, to be clear. He's been an impactful special teamer for the Ravens in a small sample size this year. He's the undrafted rookie out of Iowa that showed out in the preseason and throughout much of training camp, but expect Jay Higgins to be sidelined for the next few weeks. So, in terms of where things are at, injury-wise, maybe there's a surprise or two that could be lingering or looming going into Wednesday's practice. I know DeAndre Hopkins was banged up at one point yesterday in Minnesota, but the ones that I'm going to be looking out for as the week progresses is, of course, Marlon and an upcoming decision that potentially looms for him. Jay Higgins, not expected to be out there. And then, of course, what will Rashad Bateman's timetable be as we learn more about the severity or lack thereof, hopefully for his sake. But typically there is a level of severity when it comes to high ankle sprains. So from an injury and availability standpoint, that's where things stand right now in that regard. Appreciate you guys for being with me today on this Monday. The guest lines are open. Tomorrow will be the collective, and Cole Jackson's preparing accordingly as he always does, tallying up the pressures across the board created by the Ravens defense in what was a dominant day. Maybe dominant's not the right word, but a successful day. We say that? It was a successful day, particularly for Travis Jones. Big boy up front, number 98, getting it done in the interior part of the Ravens defense. 6 pressures led the way for Zach Orr's group. Mike Green, 3 quarterback hits, had 4, okay, including 3 quarterback hits. Draymond Jones had 4 as well. Draymond made his impact and his presence felt immediately in his Ravens debut, picking up right where he left off the last few weeks as a member of the Tennessee Titans before he was traded prior to the deadline last week. Kyle Hamilton and Taven Bryan. Taven was one of the game day activations from the practice squad. Each of those gentlemen had 3 pressures. Roquan and KVN had 2. CJ Okoye, Malachi Starks, Teddy Buchanan, David Ajabo, and Marlon Humphrey each had 1 apiece as well. Cole totaled it all up. 29 of those pressures came in the form of 10 quarterback hits. I should say, of the 29 pressures, as Cole wrote it here, 10 were quarterback hits. So this defense starting to look as we expected it might look prior to the start of the season. Getting complementary efforts and contributions from all 3 levels. They're healthy, aside from Nnamdi Madubuike and Tavius Robinson. And while they're not scaring you, let's call it, scaring you from a pass rush standpoint, the addition of Draymond Jones will help that category. And having 13 pass deflections, that'll certainly help too. That did it tie or break a franchise record? It tied for the 4th most in a single game in franchise history, 4 of which were recorded by the defensive line. So again, 13 passing deflections. God, I can't speak because I'm on island time. Sorry. 13 pass deflections by this group. And so they make up for the lack of pass rush in other areas like deflections. And obviously with that comes disrupting sight lines for the opposing team's quarterback. Marlon Humphrey talked a little bit about willing some of the turnovers, of which there have been plenty. Really, if you include the turnover on downs, 3 4th down stops, and 3 takeaways yesterday, that's 6 turnovers for the Ravens defense. Marlon Humphrey talked about willing them into existence via the form of turnover celebrations.
The thing is, we've been planning these celebrations, which means we're planning to make the plays, and I think that's a part of the whole thing. You got to believe it. You got to see it during the week, and I think that's another thing that's changed with our defense. You know, we really believe in, you know, obviously we have Lamar Jackson, but on defense we're trying to get it to where we can win games on defense. We don't even need the offense to put up any points. We can turn the ball over. We can get them the ball in the red zone. So that's been a big key. I think the mindset shift of, even though we have Lamar Jackson, let's give him a smoke break. Let's give him an off day. Like, he's bailed us out so many times. How about we do it? And so I think that's been a big difference as far as the mindset.
Give the man a smoke break. Why the hell not? More notes to talk about this Ravens defense and the way that it currently is shaping up through 10 weeks of football. It's forced a turnover for the 4th consecutive game. That's the NFL's 4th longest active streak. They have 7 total turnovers since the bye, which was in week 7. That's the NFL's most over that span. They held the Vikings to 3 of 14 on 3rd down and clearly had J.J. McCarthy under duress. In his words, he complimented Zach Orr's defensive strategy.
As you look back on that game right now, are there any throws or decisions that maybe stick out to you that you want back?
There's a lot of them. I just feel like, there's so much on the tape that it's going to reveal, but, the amount of tip balls that happened today at the line of scrimmage, those are just absolutely killer, and it's a credit to them up front. They played a tremendous game. They had a tremendous game plan, threw the kitchen sink at us in terms of coverage, pressures, new looks. But, yeah, it's just the little things like that. I think it's the worst play in football, a tip ball at the line of scrimmage, but, that's what it is, and, I definitely want those back. Great job defensively. I feel like they used, the big guys up front to, give a little push and then just, get eyes up, ready to swat the ball down. And, I got to do a better job of making sure that I'm aware of that. And, when I step up in the pocket, don't get too close to those guys and, work on all the different arm angles. But at the end of the day, they just were a great defense. And, it was a great test for us as an offense to be able to see what it looks like against a great AFC team. And, we just got to, not allow those little things like that and pre-snap penalties to have an effect on our offense.
Look, this is exactly what you're supposed to do with a young quarterback who's still processing the game, who's still adapting, who's still getting himself back healthy. I mean, this is only his fourth career start, I want to say. He had a great win last week, obviously, against the Detroit team that embarrassed the Ravens on primetime football Monday night earlier this year. But the Ravens, they did what they're supposed to do, right? You take the football away. You play mistake-free football. I think that's the perfect segue into this next topic as it relates to, not only what the Ravens did offensively, but what's some of the dialogue has been from a Minnesota perspective. This is a group that played mistake-free football, and too often, particularly when it comes to January postseason football, you haven't seen that enough out of this team. You've seen self-inflicted wounds. You've seen ball security gaffes. You see an inability to cash in the red zone. That's got to get better. They were just 2 for 5 in their 5 trips inside the 20s yesterday in Minnesota. That has to be an area. And look, like there's definitely areas that come to mind that are still glaring to me, even with this new look, if you will, Ravens overall morale and this newfound life that they're breathing, right? And one of those areas is red zone woes. One of those areas is short yardage issues. One of those areas, I'm just trying to think about the way that this team should properly be discussed. Because in one breath, I think it'd be lazy to sit up here and say they're pretenders because of the degree of difficulty of the schedule or lack thereof in recent weeks throughout this win streak. Right? So in one breath, that would be a lazy take. That's also a part of the puzzle, but we're seeing so much parity across the league, especially in the AFC this year, that's starting to lose its punch a little bit. It's the Vikings team that were a week ago riding high. So I think there's a lot to like. I do. I think there's a lot to like about the current state of the Ravens. I will continue to express a level of cautiousness, a level of caution. I'm really, really intrigued by this upcoming AFC North slate, which begins this weekend. The fact that they've played one division game so far through 10 weeks, I think brings a level of intrigue that, based on what the Ravens have shown, they're capable of doing, which is digging themselves out of this 1-5 hole. Man, you look around the NFL, it's hard to find, something more compelling. There's a lot of as compelling, but more compelling than what the Ravens have the opportunity to do right now. They're one game out of the AFC North. The Steelers got dominated last night. by the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Sebastian says Bobby's acting like these last 3 games have felt close. Quit hating. They have not. Have you been watching the last few games, Sebastian? Miami excluded? You don't? What? Bobby's acting like these last 3 games have felt close. You're damn right yesterday felt close. You don't think that felt close yesterday? Does it look different if Roquan Smith's interception isn't overturned? Of course, but it was. Should it have been? No, it shouldn't have been. It was a replay assist. Phantom replay assist. What the hell are you talking about? Miami wasn't close, obviously. First half was. And they boat raced him in the second half. Great halftime adjustments by Todd Monken and company. Chicago, not particularly close, but a lot of miscues there by the Bears. Opened up the door, maybe more so than that final score indicates. So what are you talking about, Sebastian? Call in. Let's go. Guest lines are open. Manny, good to see you, brother.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Well, let's just say that what actually needed to happen on offense, on capitalizing on the Vikings' mistakes early on, didn't work out until the end of the game. So, at least they were moving down the field and taking time off the clock, but still, no touchdowns equals nothing. So the defense is getting into shape. But these bad teams, the only thing is, come playoffs, come January, we'll see what we're really made of on all 3 sides of the field.
Yeah.
But hearing you, Bobby, you still don't have the trust. So why not just give me a shot? My new position, so you can have the confidence.
The trust is, I don't know if trust is the right word. It's more like, to use what did somebody say the other day? Bobby, be cautious. That's the new name. Hey, I'm just exercising caution. Evan puts it best. On top of the AFC North games that they have still to play, 5 of them, by the way, 5 of them. You still have Green Bay and New England on your schedule as well. And Green Bay, which is going to be in the frozen Lambeau tundra a couple days after Christmas. So, to me, it's like, I just think there's so many more seasons within this season that we're going to watch unfold over the next couple months that I'm just not allowing myself to get too in front of my skis, while also acknowledging, as I did this morning or this afternoon on the Vault, and also at the start of the show, that this defense is playing well enough to win you games, and that's what they've done the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
So the biggest win, so to speak, in all of this is the idea that they have not been forced to desperately lean on every single resource that Lamar provides you. You know, yesterday it was a dink and dunk. Let's be clear. It was a quick passing game, dink and dunk, run the football effectively when you need to, particularly that time-crunching drive at the end of the third quarter into the fourth. What was it, 11 plays, 67 yards over 6 minutes? Yep. That was exceptional. Todd Monken started dialing up a few creative short yardage situations, one with Pat Ricard, his first carry since 2022, another with a direct snap for Mark Andrews, and Lamar lined up as a friggin' running back and somehow snag. How about the ball handling from Lamar, like we discussed on the post-game show last night? So yeah, I think, I don't know if it's trust. It's more so just continuing to exercise caution, knowing that there's a lot of football left to be played. They're healthy at the right time, aside from Nnamdi and Tavius, and we'll have to see what happens with Rashad and Marlon coming up here. That's not to discount Jay Higgins, but obviously he's a special teams player for right now. And then, as Clarence just notes here too, the offensive line woes have continued.
Oh yeah, don't get me started. It's like those 3 field goals out of interceptions. I mean, come on, that's somebody. I think it was either Coach Evans or somebody other of Ravens, fan media pointed out. It's like Voorhees and especially Falalele on that sweep with Lamar. He wasn't touching anyone. And that's really a big concern. If at this point Harbaugh is still thinking Falala is the answer, we're not. It's like, okay, we might get into the playoffs. That's a big might. And then if we get in, I think it's one and done. If because everybody's going to see tape. Hey, you know what? Just distract Falala, and you go right past him and get to Lamar. That's it. That's why we couldn't score on those. We're going to 3-2, 3-1. That sweep was just a miracle that Lamar was just exceptionally fast. It was like he had to press speed. But yeah, if our guard situation doesn't improve, if Harbaugh doesn't recognize that Falalele is actually a weakness and put in, okay, you hate Ben Cleveland, but have someone else besides Falalele in there to actually help, because at least Voorhees is getting there.
Our friend Cole tallied up the pressures allowed by the Ravens, and Tyler Linderbaum actually led the way with 3. Ronnie and Voorhees had 2. Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Rosengarten, and Fa'alele each had 1 apiece. Cole also threw in a couple other notes here that the quarterback hit on Lamar was a penalty, so it's likely not recorded as an official snap. And then Lamar had 2.61. What's TTT again? Is it time to throw? I believe it's time to throw. 2.61 seconds in terms of time to throw with only 10 true pass sets. So that is from a PFF perspective, it's one level of analysis, but Linderbaum led the way with 3.
Yeah, we need desperately another right guard. Like, I don't know what else to say. Defense is getting healthy. I'm not so worried about Rashad because we got Tez, we got Tylen, and if you want more speed, you got Wester on that position that can cover. Or
He's
if you want
kicks for him.
Yeah, or if you want, you can play Keaton Mitchell, a slot, and have Derrick Henry at the same time. So no excuses there if Rashad cannot go. You got bodies there.
Well, I'm glad you just went there because it's a perfect segue for where I'm going right now, and that's to Keaton Mitchell. John Harbaugh just talked about his usage, so sit back and watch this one, brother. I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, see you.
Later, Manny. Rave will get to you in just a bit. John Harbaugh asked about the usage thus far to date in 2025 on Keaton Mitchell.
The change of pace with Keaton Mitchell worked really well over the last few weeks. Do you sort of like the level at which you're using that right now, or is that something that we could maybe see even more in certain games? Or
Yeah, I think more. Yeah, more. We should, and we were kind of intentional. We wanted to do more, just for whatever reason, we didn't get to it, but definitely want to see more Keaton. And, I think more you can mix it up. It's hard to take, it's hard to take plays off Derrick Henry's plate. That's a challenge. I think anybody can understand that, but mixing it up is also a good thing too, and I think all the guys understand the value of that too. So we're going to try to find that. It's going to be game to game probably, but try to find that world where, everybody's most effective.
Was it something that he improved on that led to his increased role, or was it really more from the coaching game plan side?
Say again, please.
Was it something that Keaton did that earned him an increased role, or was it more from the game planning side?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both, but probably more Keaton. Just watching him throughout the course of the season, you could, he's been working hard, but he was coming back, hadn't played a lot last year, and I think he kind of was getting his sea legs back as a football player, offensively and on special teams, both. And he made a big impact on special teams yesterday, twice as a gunner. I don't know if you noticed, but he had one play on the left sideline where he got down there right away, and then he had one where he got tackled and backed him up to the inside the 7-yard line, which was huge for us because it backed him up on that last drive. And then McCarthy got the big scramble, but it only got him out to like the 35-yard line because of that. That was a massive play, kind of hidden yardage play by Keaton. But even as a running back, I think he's really starting to, in the last, not just now, but in the last probably 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you could really starting to see him come alive.
Would you guys agree less than satisfactory in terms of giving context as to why Keaton was inactive and outside of the game plan for a chunk of this season. Quote, we were kind of intentional. We wanted to do more. For whatever reason, we didn't get to it. Definitely want to see more of Keaton. It's hard to take plays off of Derrick Henry's plate. That's a challenge. I think he was kind of getting his sea legs back as a football player, offensively and on special teams. In the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you're really starting to see him come alive. Well, I think we all know that he was very much alive in the preseason, and he's been very much alive in the limited opportunities that he's gotten so far this season. I have the snap count in front of me from yesterday, and let's just stick with running backs for the purpose of this conversation. Justice Hill logged 19 offensive snaps. That was good for 27% of the share. Justice also had 4 on special teams for 14%. Derrick Henry had 47 snaps offensively, 67% of the share. And Keaton Mitchell had just 5 offensively for 7% of the share. They also allowed him to play special teams 12 snaps. That was 43% of the share. So yet again, here we are on a really, really small sample size from Keaton, but yet made his impact felt. 4 carries for 31 yards. That was an average of 7.8 and a long of 22. Good things continue to happen when Keaton Mitchell is directly involved with this offense. And maybe sometimes not even directly involved with the ball. Indirectly, you have to account for his sheer presence, his ability, his one-play home run ability, because that's what he brings to this group. I could have gotten behind the whole sea legs thing, acclimating him back, giving him time last year. But he told Sarah and I in April he's been ready to go. He was hitting 20 miles an hour, clocking well over 20 miles an hour. We saw him ball out in the preseason. Why was he not used earlier? I don't have the answer to that. Rave, do you? Do you have the answers as to why Keaton Mitchell was not used earlier this year, my friend?
Because John Harbaugh is stuck in John Harbaugh ways, okay? Let me ask you a question, right? Was Emory Jones inactive? Right or wrong? Was Devontae Walker inactive? Right or wrong? Was Pete Dante Peoples was inactive? Right or wrong? Let me keep going here. We knew that we needed D-line and O-line help, and nothing was taken care of in the offseason or in the trade deadline, right or wrong? That is a statement to the office and a statement of malpractice and a statement of just don't know what you're doing. Let me ask you a question. A lot of people always get on me about Ben Cleveland because I support Ben Cleveland so much. Let me ask everybody a question. Why is all of a sudden he was a competition for left guard, but never a competition for right guard? He said, John Harbaugh got out of his mouth, he said, there's no competition at right guard. None. And you knew that guy was going to be a nuisance, a menace to us. Let me ask you a question. In this game against the Vikings, I want you to know, Bobby, I recorded tons and tons of footage of Falele, how bad he was. It's like he said, today's my birthday. I'm going to give the world's worst performance of all time. Congratulations. Maybe you could show me a footage that he did one decent block. Maybe you could show me another decent block. But when I tell you I got footage for days, that man got his hands out. That man falling on the ground. That man missing blocks. Not even touching anybody. There's moments where he's facing the whole opposite way, like he's on the defense. So, I mean, if we're going to keep sitting here wondering how is not John Harbaugh questioned, this is unbelievable. This is amazing, you know? And by the way, happy birthday, Daniel Falala. Happy birthday. Because you decided on your birthday, you're going to give us that trashness. And by the way, that little flag, a.k.a. The one where Lamar got sacked really hard, by the way, that was Falala's fault. He was getting killed. He was losing that battle. And then he pushed the defender towards Rosengarten, and Rosengarten had to turn around and realize, and the defender hit Lamar, by the way. That was Falala's fault, by the way. Everyone wants to know. The man can't understand that Linderbaum, Voorhees, and Stanley is running to the left to set the screen, and Falala doesn't understand he's supposed to grab the left side of the body and drag the defender to the right away from the screen of what's going on, because the defender was facing head on to him. So, Bobby, this is why we continue to question this office. We continue to question everything, because it's not one play, Bobby. It's not last week's play, Bobby. Bobby, let me ask you a question. What is the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, Rave.
Exactly. Why am I watching Mark Andrews drag off to the side, to the right, on every 2-point conversion or an extra point? It's that same little drag, Mark Andrews dragging out to the right. And then they try to change it a little bit up and made Mark Andrews go up, and congratulations, we happy we got that touchdown by Mark Andrews. But they love doing it. Let me ask you a question, Bobby. If the definition of insanity is to do everything over and over again, if I'm not mistaken, the way it's going, the trajectory of what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens is we have an opportunity with the great schedule that's for us, that's going to allow us to make a run, go towards the playoffs. But guess what? Bobby, that O-line is going to fail us and that D-line is going to fail us. And you know why it's going to fail us? Because that means we're going to get stopped soon. Oh, by the way, and Lamar did not look too healthy, by the way. He did not look 100%. And I ain't talking about his arm. That boy Lamar could throw his arm off. But them legs, my man, that was Tom Brady-esque speed.
Take a look at this, Rave. Take a look at this, Rave. He didn't throw a ball 20 air yards yesterday. Spenny all over this in terms of just sort of the quick passing game, the dink and dunk. I mean, look at his chart. Next gen stats, 17 of 29, 176 yards, a touchdown. But what's the most important part? And you might be onto something. You might be onto something in terms of him not being 100%, because clearly since he's returned, they have not asked a lot of him from a mobility standpoint. Very little mobility has been showcased from Lamar. And that could be seen as a win. But to your point, it can also lead to some uncertainty in terms of when they absolutely got to have it. They got to have that. And I don't know when that's going to be, because you already know Cleveland's got the athletes and the game plan and the execution and defensively up front to contain him.
Right.
And they beat the Ravens last year. And they're capable of doing it again. I know that this team it's Cleveland. Cleveland is Cleveland. But I know that when the Ravens and Browns play, it tends to be different. It wasn't different earlier this year, but it absolutely can be. And I maybe even think will be. I don't know if the result will be different, but I'm expecting this to be a closely contested, ugly game coming up on Sunday. And so, anyway, where I'm going with this is the positive is that the Ravens are proving that they can win games in different ways, particularly when their defense gives them 6 different turnovers. I mean, think about it. 3 fourth down stops, turnover on downs, and 3 takeaways, one of which was on special teams. So that's a positive. But where I think you're going with this is moving forward, one, if Lamar's mobility isn't tested, meaning they still don't feel like they're capable of running the schematic game plan that will require a lot from him physically, then is this offensive line capable of hanging in there in pass protection? And that was not the case yesterday at all.
At all. And the PFF grades is trying to make it a little bit better than what it was. But if you're a true fan and you're watching what's happening, it's like, my Lord, we are in trouble. And that's why I bring it back to the definition of insanity. It's over and over and over again. So it's like, I know we're on a high. I know we're happy. The Ravens are making a stride. They're fixing up the record. They're about to go back to 500. But I want everyone to understand, if there is no change in that O-line, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I hate to say it, but I don't think we're going to be able to give Lamar a Super Bowl until it's fixed. Until John is gone, until John is gone, I don't see it. And here's the thing: it's not that like Lamar's not capable. For crying out loud, we're the Baltimore Ravens. We got Nate Wiggins. I mean, that man is a dog. I'm not. I want everybody to listen to me. I'm not saying that we're not still a dangerous, capable of team. We're still, a team that's still to be respected. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, as long as the head of the snake, aka John, is ruling about what we do, situational play calls, personnel choices, and how he coaches this team, and considering the fact that his ego is so strong that you know what? I'm gonna still have Falala out there, and still have Andrew Voorhees out there. And I'm congratulations. I know everybody's bigging up Andrew Voorhees because he played a little bit better and all that. I'm glad. I mean, the man still sucks, but okay. But the fact that he's still gonna put Falala out there lets me want. And hold on. Here's what makes it even worse, Bobby. If you want to defend, if anybody wants to defend John, man has Henry Jones now. He's still in. He still ain't did it.
Ray, we're losing your connectivity, my
I'm sorry,
man.
Bobby.
No, it's all good. I just think,
Okay.
moving forward, I'll talk to you soon, brother. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Look, I would love to see Emory Jones get a chance. Who's to say that Emory Jones doesn't deserve a chance? He was a healthy scratch this past weekend. And we know he's, a few weeks in now since being activated from the NFI list. Rookie out of LSU. Dog, drafted as a tackle. Ravens recently shifted his positional designation to guard. I'd love to see what they have in him. Why not? So I think where Rave is going here, and again, this is not, negative Nancy rain on a victory Monday parade type of program. I want to be clear on that. Ravens are winners of 3 consecutive games. This defense is flying around. Young rookies are playing impactful football. Malachi Starks back-to-back weeks with interceptions. I think Teddy Buchanan playing great at middle linebacker, weak side linebacker alongside Roquan Smith. Mike Green continues to show something. And when you take away the football as much as they have been throughout this win streak, it gives your offense a chance to, like Marlon said, as it relates to Lamar, take a smoke break. With that said, we know they're going to have to score points in bunches should they want to make a run deep into January. And so where I think Rave is, sometimes I think Rave is a little bit reactive for my liking, but I see where he's coming from today. I do. I see where he's looking at this in the greater picture, not in the here and now. Rave does not have a short memory, and I respect that. Do you have a short memory, Julian? Great hat.
I absolutely agree with everything that Rave said and more. And I want to piggyback off of this Falele or Falala, whatever you want to call him, situation. I've watched a lot of his basically all of his past downs and everything, and I've just been noticing, and I've seen it on a couple of occasions, on a lot of occasions, when every time the ball is like hiked or before the ball is snapped, he's not really looking at who he's trying to block, or if he knows who to block, or where to block, or how to block. It's like he's confused on everything he's supposed to do schematically, and it's so infuriating. All you see every time, he's just like this way. Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to are you trying to hit somebody? Are you trying to put your hands on somebody? Or are you just standing there, just waiting for something to happen? And I just feel like he's so confused of what he's supposed to do. And the coaches look at that and say, "Oh yeah, he's good. He's fine. Keep him out there." I just don't understand it. He's got to be the worst offensive tackle I've ever seen in my life, bar none. And I just feel like if they would have probably switched him on defense, maybe he can contribute there. I don't know, but offensive tackle for me is not it for him. But other than that, um, I did like what I saw from uh, what's the name? Jones, the new pass
Draymond
rusher.
Jones, man,
Draymond Jones.
he's.
Draymond Jones. Yeah,
How about
he's
this guy?
whew, wow. I mean, we was was having a little bit of question about how they was going to use him, but I mean when they used him really well, and he generated a lot of pressure. And I
Here it
did like
is.
this. Yeah,
4 to be exact. 4. That's a pressure rate of 12.1%. Man, he had a couple really clean reps, and I'm talking about not manufactured reps. We're
yeah,
talking about organic reps. Just
exactly.
sheer force, technique,
Hmm.
skill, experience. He could play inside and outside.
Hmm.
Draymond Jones looked rejuvenated to be in Baltimore, trying to chase. I was going to say a championship. That's a little rich right now. Trying to
Yeah,
chase a
one step at a
playoff
time.
berth, right? They're trying to go on a run here. They're trying to get this defense an opportunity, this overall team, an opportunity as a defense to turn this ship around. I got the stats right in front of me, not to cut you off, in
Hmm.
terms of Draymond's final snap count, because I was curious about this. He
Hmm.
logged 39 defensive snaps. That was good for 60%
Mm.
of the defensive snap share, target share, I should say. And he actually played special teams too. Draymond did 3 for 11%. So, man, he came in and just immediately made his presence felt. And look, there wasn't a headliner move, as we know. There were multiple moves.
Yeah,
Not one
yeah,
of them were a headliner.
yeah,
But if Draymond has a chance to continue to play in Baltimore, which he clearly will and did yesterday,
yeah,
that he can make the most of his opportunity, that we might be looking back at that as, sure, it's not a by definition headliner, but for the Ravens and what their needs were and are, could
yeah.
very well be a headliner. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely agree. And then you got Mike Green coming on and generating his rush as well. And I like that last rush that he did. It was two plays. I think you already know the one where he stopped Aaron Jones behind the yard line, and it was a beautiful inside rush move, and it was picture perfect. And then in the last one, he generated pressure that led to what should have been a Roquan Smith interception, which I don't understand why the refs just completely overturned that. I was just throwing my phone at the daggone TV, like, what are you doing? I
Replay
almost
assist,
broke my
man.
phone. It's just
Replay assist.
ridiculous. It,
Yep.
it was it was absolutely ridiculous that they did that. The game should have been over right then and there. But they got to make it hard for us. But I like what I see from that, and then you could add on the fact that Kyle Hamilton is just playing out of his mind as well, and he's generating pressure. Uh, I definitely like what I see from this defense. They're starting to find their feeling. Although I would say Marlon Humphrey and bits and pieces, he's getting beat a lot still. Like still concerned about that, and a little bit concerned about the them stopping the run. But they didn't give up like constant like long runs like they did back in when Detroit came in and started running all over us like crazy. So I like that they shored up that part of the defense, but I would like to see more. But it's starting to come along, and they're limiting the team from scoring like crazy. It's like I would say the last one was 19 points that the Vikings scored. Then the week before that, I think was 6 points. So the scoring from the opposition is coming down. So I definitely like what I'm seeing from the defense. And obviously, I have my concerns about the offensive line. I already spoke on that. So all in all, they're looking good. I like to see more. I want to before I say that they're back, but all in all, it's a good day for them.
Tell you what, they end up wrapping up JJ McCarthy there late, when he kind of scampered for 26. That ended up being their long. You just got me thinking about the
Hmm.
rushing attack and how the Ravens, from a run defense standpoint, performed yesterday. And look, you look at
Yeah,
120 yards for Minnesota. You're like, okay, you'd like that number to be south of 100, but
yeah,
you take that 26-yard run out by JJ McCarthy, and you have exactly that,
yeah,
94 rushing yards.
yeah,
And that's it's something that happened.
yeah,
They can't get that back.
yeah,
But the reality is, and look, let's see. Yeah, JJ was their leading rusher. JJ
Yeah.
McCarthy was their leading rusher. That was a
Yeah.
successful day of run defensive game planning and
Hmm.
execution by them, by all accounts, yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's another area that they continue to improve on
Yeah.
since the bye. So
Right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have to keep on improving on that. I mean, that's the number one, one on defense. You got to stop the run and make them one dimensional. And I did see that Joe Burrow is trying to make a comeback. I don't know if you saw that resurface. He's
yeah,
trying
this
to come
came
back
up.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, this came up at the end of the vault earlier today. Joe, so he's a little bit 2 months out from toe surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And his practice window's opened. So that was sort of the breaking news earlier today. He's still
Mm-hmm.
on injured reserve, but he has 21 days to be activated.
Right.
Looks like a December return for him could be legit. And when you
Yeah.
look at, let's see. So what? We are 17 days out from Thanksgiving, right? So he's got
Yeah.
21 days to return, and we're 17 days out from Thanksgiving, which is when the Ravens and Bengals play for the first of three, or
Yeah.
I should say the first in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's the first of two that are played within 3 weeks. I swear to God, dude, without Celsius being on, like my family is spreading me thin right now. I like can't talk. The
Yeah.
vault, I was struggling. Sarah's sick, so I can't formulate sentences. So I apologize, everybody. I look forward to getting back stateside when I can once again be a human.
Mm.
You know what I mean, though. It's this 2 games within 3 weeks, beginning 17 days from now on Thanksgiving, and I have
Right.
no idea whether or not he'll be available there. Jay Glazer was like, "Oh, Thanksgiving-ish," was what he
Mm.
corrected his report to be. So it's been 57 days since he injured his toes or his
Mm.
toe, singular.
Yeah.
And we know that, crazy enough, Joe Flacco has played so productively for them that
Yeah.
you just don't know if it's going to matter that much because of how porous that defense has failed them in
Yeah.
consecutive seasons. But I think we all know that Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow, and he
Yeah.
gives them the best chance to win. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to see, man. Coming up in a couple weeks, the AFC North Gauntlet is coming up right around the corner. It begins.
Yeah.
Look, you guys can laugh as much as you want in the live chat when I say this. The AFC North Gauntlet, and yes, I'm including Cleveland in that, begins this Sunday. This is a championship level defense that they're going up against.
Right.
And they beat them last year. They split their regular season series. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm calling it a gauntlet when it comes to AFC North backloaded type of schedule that is presented to the Ravens right now. And I am
Mm-hmm.
including Cleveland in that. So you guys can get mad about that all you want, but I'm including Cleveland in it, Jewel, and until proven otherwise. And I'd be happy, this time next week to be like, okay, I gave the Browns too much credit, but this
Yeah.
defense is championship-esque, and I can't quite bring myself to do it yet.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Cleveland's Cleveland. I mean, they're going to give us a tough outing, regardless of who's that quarterback, who's playing, who's the coach, what their record is. It's AFC North football. Everybody knows that. So, I mean, I'm not really too worried about Cleveland, but all I would say is they just got to put their foot on the gas and not let Cleveland have any life like they did last year, because they went into it last year and, we got beat. So we can't have that same slip up this time, and I don't think they will. So I'm not
And
worried about
ultimately,
Cleveland.
what you do is you do what you do, or I should say, you do what you did to J.J. McCarthy. You throw the kitchen sink at him, to use his words. A bunch
Yeah.
of different looks, a bunch of different exotic blitzes, right? You name it, and
Mm-hmm.
and disrupt his line of sight. You think J.J. McCarthy struggled with 13 pass deflections? Dude, Dylan Gabriel, what is he, 5'11"? I think
Yeah.
he's like a Drew Brees type of height. I
He's
don't
gonna
think he's
really
6 feet
struggle.
tall, is he?
Yeah, he's barely that. Yeah. It's like at
Yeah,
least
so you
5 feet,
think
something like that.
they were able to get hands-on footballs on J.J. McCarthy? They should be able to eat up front against Dylan Gabriel, just solely based on, I was going to say anatomy, but like just straight up from a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
So
I-
that's something that I'm going to be watching for sure. 13 pass deflections, ties for 4th most in franchise history in a game. So
Mhm.
thanks, Joel. Appreciate you, man.
All right, Bobby. See you next time.
And I didn't even think about that too, honestly. Now I'm curious about Dylan Gabriel's height. I want to say he was somewhere around 5'11", but let's get that right now. Let's see. Yeah, 5'11". So theoretically, theoretically, you expect the Ravens to disrupt his sight lines for sure. Save Day says, no one but Bobby said the Browns were scary. There you go again, Save Day. You're the first of three, Save Day. You're the first of three call-outs that I'm about to take aim at. Never once did I say the Browns were scary. I think they should be included in the AFC North gauntlet that's about to begin, being that the Ravens have only played one game against these Browns earlier on in the season. Yes, they handled business, but I expect it to be a tough game. I do. I also don't expect anything less from you, Save Day. Sorry ass. Dre Dog says, Draymond, meaning Draymond Jones, had a good game. However, it was giving me almost Owe vibes. Can't lie. I think you have scar tissue, my brother. Brian says Marlon should have surgery. Be ready for Cincinnati. It's kind of what I was getting at a little bit earlier on. Dre Dog says Ravens media are cowards. No questions on Daniel. I feel like they've exhausted all possible. They've asked John Harbaugh, Daniel Fa'alele questions so many times throughout this year. At some point, you just have to say, like, all right, this is getting a little monotonous. Who else do I have a call out for? C. Schulman decides to stick his head out there in anonymous fashion because we have no idea who C. Schulman is, and he has a profile photo instead of, or like a Bitmoji instead of his actual profile photo that would showcase his actual self. And he says all of these people think they know ball. If they did, they wouldn't be calling in to talk to Bobby. So C. Schulman not only calls out the program, but calls out our subscriber base as well. Now I'll call your sorry ass out, C. Schulman. I got a live chat right now that has a pinned comment with a guest access line. Why don't you come on here and let everybody know why you feel like everybody calling in doesn't know ball and why you are spending your Monday afternoon inside this channel. Oh, he says, I'm here. Let's hear it. No. Let's hear it. Floor's yours, brother. Floor's all yours. I got nothing but time. I'm on island time right now. Matter of fact, I'm going to go get a read in right now, and I'll wait for you. I'm going to talk about Chabal Mar and my experience and whatnot. Guest line access was just thrown in here. It's also a pinned comment, as you can see. We're looking forward to having you on. So get yourself all prepared. Looking forward to chatting with you. No bark, no bite. Really all bark, no bite. Chabal Mar is where my family and I have been crashing the last few days here in Placencia, Belize. By the way, Chabal Mar is Mayan for beautiful sea. And let me tell you guys, it's just been an exceptional experience here. We have done a little bit of everything, including deep sea diving, kind of like what you see here. The Belize Barrier Reef, freaking amazing. My entire family, we all went down 50 feet with our regulators and all of our equipment. This is unbelievable. And now 5 of the 6 of us, I had to work yesterday, so I couldn't go do it. But 5 of the 6 of us are one step away from deep sea diving certification. One of the many things that you can do when you stay at Chabal Mar. And as you see in the background right now, where I am, everything is villa-based. These are privately owned villas. And it's all thanks to Larry France. Larry is a member of the New Mexico West Wing Ravens flock group. They all watch football together on Sundays or whenever the team's playing. Larry is originally from Dundalk, Maryland, and he's the marketing director here in Placencia at Chabal Mar. And so he was kind enough to invite my family and I out to celebrate my mother's 60th. And I would love for you guys to follow Chabal Mar on Instagram. If you don't already, you can go to chabalmar.com. All of this information can be found in the show notes. But I think the Instagram does a pretty good job of detailing what makes this place so special. It is an oasis. It is so quiet, so relaxing. The service is immaculate. Most of them are local Belizeans who are so kind, so welcoming. They bring such a level of warmth to what they do here. You're looking at the pier out front. Let me tell you, Omar has been whipping up some killer old fashions underneath that bamboo that you see right there at the end of the pier. Omar, one of the many service folks here, hospitality folks that just have welcomed us with open arms. Beach chairs all over the place. The sunrises have been magical. Here's a look at what the view consists of from the veranda. It's just, we totally hit the jackpot here. And I want to say thanks to Chabomar. I want to say thanks to Larry and the entire crew, because a lot of us, every single one of my family members, including myself, are leaving really relaxed and thankful that we had this chance to ring in my mother's 60th, which is today. You can see it's really family friendly as well. Super easy to get into the town area, the downtown village part. You got golf carts that you can rent, bikes that you can rent through the resort. So much fun, and just wanted to say thanks to them for this tremendous experience. I went long, and I went long on purpose because I wanted to give C. Schulman the amount of time that he needed to get himself right. And much like most, not all, but most, I see that he's quivered and he's laid down. And when the lights get bright, he folds. C. Schulman, I should probably make this a known prerequisite when it comes to expectations within this channel, that when you either subscribe, lurk in the live chat, become a Voltron on the Vault side of things, or a Bobby Baltimorean here, a patron, a daily subscriber, an audio-only listener, part of that responsibility is actually having a backbone, which you don't. So just know that the next time you want to come on in here and do all your barking with no biting, just know you're going to get called out on it live. That's what we've done today. Tag his ass, Evan. Wait a second. Is Evan calling me out? Luke, what is he saying? What's this mother effer saying? Oh, man. I see what Evan's saying. Let that one slide because I could tell there's a little humor, little level of humor attached to that. Yeah, so he's long gone and didn't even attempt to accept my invitation to the waiting room. My job here is done, gentlemen and ladies. Hello, Ashley. Appreciate you guys for being here. Gonna wrap it up shortly here just because we're celebrating my mom's 60th and she's getting, I mentioned that 15,000 times. I don't mean to like continue to overemphasize what we're doing, but we have dinner plans, and she is wrapping up her spa treatment, massage, and everything at a local resort that's right down the road. So really looking forward to kind of bringing this whole trip full circle. Wheels up tomorrow. That means I'll be solo. You should see this iguana that's crawling up the steps towards me right now. Not a great sight, so probably a good time. Wow, that is a massive iguana that is inching closer and closer to me. Anyway, that's what I'm going to go do, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Sarah, if she is fully rested and recovered, will have a solo show tomorrow, and then she and I will both be back on Wednesday to kind of reset this entire thing and get back to standard business when it comes to the execution of this show and some of the polish that I feel like I've been lacking in recent days due to some of the travel. So thanks for your patience as always, guys. Thanks to Chabomar again for just a really, really special getaway. And this will be the last time that I have a sponsored episode on them as of right now. So if you could do me a favor and follow them on Instagram, would love for you to do so. And maybe you end up vacationing here one day. I just dropped that into the live chat. There's also some information in the show notes for you as well. So for all of my guest call-ins, for all of you out there, I'm Bobby Trosset signing off from this one, and I'll catch up with you later this week. welcome to Week 11. That's officially tomorrow, Monday Night Football tonight. And that means we are well into the second half of this season. I'll catch up with you guys.